pure experiences.
Welcome to the Pure Experiences Podcasts.
Hello and welcome to Pure Experiences Podcast. This world is a state of the mind, the waking state. It is an appearance. That which is appearing to itself in many forms. That which divides the infinite potentials into finite forms is the mind. That which limits the experience to specific patterns out of infinite possible is the mind. That which produces the illusion of permanence out of continuously changing experience is the mind. That which creates the separation between the experience and the experiencer is the mind. That which gathers the knowledge of this illusory experience is also the mind. That which puts the attention exclusively on these illusory appearances is the mind. That which is extroverted is the mind, and that which comes out of this ignorance becomes introverted, rests in its own nature, is also the mind. Mind is a very funny thing. Why is it doing that? Why can't it simply stop? Not only that, it also creates a person, an entity that exists independently of this sea of illusions and considers itself as real, thinks itself to be the owner of these illusory forms and also of the mind. The mind has a self-referencing model of itself that resides in the mind. It is easy to see the appearances as they are, but very difficult to come out of this self-imprisonment that has happened. The illusion of the I, the illusion of the person, that is very difficult to get rid of. This mind is not a thing. It is just a name given to the illusory activity of that which is. If you say self is all there is, then it is the activity of the self. No activity, no mind. Therefore, cessation of this activity is called the union or the coming back. There are many activities, and wise people have given different names to different kinds of activities. But in English, we just have only one word, and we call all of them as mind for some strange reason. But those who study the mind, they know that there are hundreds of minds. By minds, I don't mean individuals. There are no individuals. There are hundreds of kinds of activities that appear as something. They are appearances. All experience is nothing but activity, continuous change of some kind. That is all the mind is. There is a lot of ignorance about what this word mind means, even among seekers. Ordinary people, they don't know what it is, obviously. But when a spiritual seeker confronts the mind, he is overwhelmed by what it is. Because one word cannot do justice to what is actually happening. So when you start digging into your experience, which is all a made-up experience, just mind, then you will start uncovering what this thing is. And you will find it is not a thing at all. It is just a word. The mind itself is an illusion. How do we know all this? If we are so deep into the illusion, how is it even possible for this mind to know that it itself is an illusion? Fortunately, we can hack into it. The mind can hack into itself. It is like hacking into a very sophisticated software. No matter how nicely made, no matter how intelligently coded, there are always some soft parts in a software where the hacker can get into it. It has a little bit of weak points. It has some limitations that give away the secrets. The mind is also very sophisticated. It looks like impeccable, but still there are some places there where we can squeeze into, where our intellect barely goes, and there we come across the glitches in the mind. We can exploit them to know what it is. So fortunately for us, it has many such backdoors, and one of them is that the mind changes states. Imagine if it were waking state all the time. Would you ever know that there can be something apart from the experience? It would be impossible to know anything. So a seeker, a yogi, hacks into the states of the mind. There, when it is transitioning from one state to another, there is the back door. There is the key. So people have done that, very, very talented people. They have explored the dark corners of the mind. It is not really dark, but it is so complex and intricate. It is so deep that it takes a lifetime to explore one state. Probably we can explore 1% of it or less. Whatever appears is called Maya, and it is said that Maya is very dense. It is so dense that a millimeter cube of it contains a lifetime of treasures, cannot be known in one lifetime. It is so densely packed, and it is all there is. There is nothing else apart from the illusion. Or you can say there is nothing else apart from the mind, which we blame is the creator of this illusion. That is only a metaphor. The illusion itself is mind. There is no separate thing called mind which is busy creating a separate thing called illusion, and then there is no separate thing called the self witnessing the illusion. No, it's all one. We know this because it changes. It is continuously changing, but there are certain changes that are drastic, that simply give away the mechanisms, the secrets of this magician called mind. Maya is also called a magician. She is so skillful that she is creating this illusion in front of your eyes and you don't know it. The magician is so skillful that the magician itself is hidden very nicely. People found out that there are ways to know the secrets, and they explode. And as I said, a great way to start is to pay attention to the changing states of the mind. The waking state is one of the state where the world appears. The world is also called Jagat in Sanskrit, and the waking state is called Jagriti. And you can see the relation here. Jagat is that which appears in the state of Jagriti. They have the same root. The waking state is the world. How did they find this out? How do we know that the waking state is the world? There is no world apart from the waking state of the mind. Now we should not confuse it with my waking state. I am awake and so the world appears. No, it is not like this. There is no you. You appear as a state of the mind. If there is still this concept of I am waking, I am dreaming, I am sleeping, then there is no hope. Then the Maya has done her job very nicely. The Maya has you in the chains of ignorance. You are not an audience. You are the performer on the stage of the Maya. There is no player and there is no viewer. The play is watching itself. We know that the world is waking state simply because the play stops, the state changes, and then it resumes again. This is how we have broken into the domain of Maya. It has this weak point, a state changes. There is this transition from one state to another. Although it is all continuous change, but this can be detected. So a good way to study the mind, to research, to explore the mind, is to attack here. Start at the junction of two states. keep your awareness on when the state changes. And then you will know all the secrets of the mind, how this works. That is how it was found out that yes, it is just another state of the mind, the waking state. And the states are cyclic because it's a process, it goes in it goes round and round and round in circles. It's a mechanism. For an ordinary person, there are only three states: the waking, the dreaming, and the sleep, deep sleep. For a beginner, a seeker who is interested in the mind, only three states. And obviously we reject the deep sleep and the dreaming as unreal because the experience is not worth noting there. There is nothing there to look at most of the time. And so that which remains is the waking state, and that is then branded as the reality. This is the view of an ignorant person who has never studied the mind, who has never paid attention to the states of the mind, who has never explored the dynamics of the mind. And you can see that billions and billions of people, for them this is the only reality. The ignorance is so widespread. But that is the topic for another discussion, which we have discussed a lot, why this is so. It is almost perfect. That is not true, as we will see. There are imperfections in the mind. There are faults which give away its workings. For the ordinary person, only three states, and out of that, only one is real. Those who explore, they find hundreds of states, all equally illusory, all equally real, all equally breathtaking, complex, intricate, mesmerizing. Don't think that it is my mind which is in the head somewhere and it is witnessing a reality. That is the stupidity of highest kind. There are states upon states upon states of the mind, each producing unique experience. Why is it that those experiences are not accessible to ordinary people? Why does it take so much effort to know these other states and become stable in those states? And the answer is simple. The answer is habit. An average human is an expression of the mind that is habitual in nature. It has crystallized into the waking state. So much so that it assumes that there is nothing else except this one. Like a toad in the well. For the toad in the well, only that much is its world. Cannot see anything beyond it. So this human mind has fallen into a minima, fallen into a well. And it takes a little bit of effort to climb out of it. It is not impossible. Just like 1 in a million can play violin and sound beautiful, same way 1 in a million has the talent, has the natural gift to hack into the mind, has the interest, has the energy to practice. You can get hold of the violin and you can mess with it, but it's not going to produce the music. Same way, everybody has a mind, everybody has access to the mind. You can mess with it, it won't produce the music of knowledge. And that is the reason that almost everybody is ignorant about what this is. Few have this curiosity, talent, energy, patience, and intelligence to explore what this is. So the question is, commonly asked question is, if it is just a state, if there are so many states corresponding to many, many experiences, we call them other worlds, then why don't I have that experience? Why don't I see it? And obviously, because I don't see it, you are lying. It is mumbo jumbo. And it is like asking the same question to a very talented artist. Yes, you can play the piano beautifully, you can play the violin so nicely. Why can't I do this? I don't believe you that you can produce the music. Because you see, music can be heard by many, but the states of the mind are subjective. You cannot see it. You cannot see what the state looks like from while being in the waking state. So obviously, the ignorant mind is going to assume that these people, they don't know, they just cook up the stories. And there are some adventurous people who will use very, very brute force methods, like take drugs or do something crazy to get a glimpse of another state. Some are convinced by that, gross way, and a minority, a fraction of them, then take up a proper path, take up a proper practice, go to the violin trainer, go to the piano teacher, learn the notes. This is what we call seekers, isn't it? These are the people who have access to the secrets because they have done the hard work, they have done the effort, you see. If you simply sit on the shore, never dive into the ocean, you will never know how beautiful and deep and expensive it is inside. You don't know what is there because you're sitting on the shore. And then you question, why don't I know what is there in the ocean? Well, man, you need to jump in the ocean. There's no other way. Everything else is a story. And it is good. It is a sign of intelligence to doubt these stories. Because who knows, it's my mind, I can cook up anything. How will you know? On a spiritual path, experience is the truth. On the path of knowledge, there are very specific, very hard criteria about how to obtain knowledge. All the knowledge is knowledge of the mind. All the knowledge is knowledge of the illusion of the Maya. And she can deceive you like this. Everybody falls. And everybody falls for the first time. Everybody gives up except a few. Persist. There is no other way. You see, everybody knows how to click here and there on their PC, but very few people are hackers. They have the extreme knowledge, you see. In order to know what this is, you will need to become a hacker of the mind. No other way. Hack into the states of the mind. And you will find there are countless, actually. I have counted a few, which you already know, those who listen to my podcast regularly. 20, 25, 30. That is my reach, you see. I am just a newbie hacker. The experts have gone further, and it does not look like that there is an end to this thing. There are countless states. Actually, it cooks up a state every time, you see. It is like particle physics, you see. Every time you smash the particles, new ones are generated. And the experimenters, they keep scratching their heads. Now we have 200-300 more particles to account for. And they hit more, and then more are generated. They go looking and they find something strange again and again and again. Same way, you will find it. The Maya will produce one state for you if you go looking for it. It is so awesome, you see. I don't even know the proper word. Probably there's no word for this thing. It is amusing. When you explore, the waking state will reduce to a tiny state of the mind, and there will be infinite possibilities there. And so a yogi rejects the waking state as a dream. Oh, just one more state of the mind. So you see, he's climbing out of the well now. He can see beyond the waking state. Once a seeker was confronting a very well-educated man. You know what do I mean by educated by now. Brainwashed. And he probably said something similar. And this world is nothing but a state of the mind, waking state. It appears like this. And that was enough to irritate the educated man, very intelligent, sharp and rational, logical mind. He said, no, this world is the only reality and nothing to do with mind. The mind is something illusory, which we think it is. And this world is here, right now in front of your eyes. It is made up of matter. So the seeker said, that is very good. It's a very good hypothesis. Can you please show me the matter? Because right now, right here, all I see is mind. How can you see that which I don't see? See, seeker can also ask the same question. So the man said, look, this chair, you're sitting on it. Look, hit on it. It is matter. You see the wall there? It is made up of matter. Kick it. You will feel the pain. It is there. If it were mind, you wouldn't feel the pain. You say it is illusion. Your hand would go through it. Look, it is solid. Can't you see? You don't have eyes. Or the grey matter is missing behind the eyes. And the seeker was smiling, but he pretended a little bit, pretended to be stupid. He said, "Sir, I'm very sorry. This thing that you call chair, you say it is matter?" And he said, "Yes, you're getting it." The seeker said, "No, I see only colors and forms. And I do not see this thing that you are talking about, the matter. Please show me the matter." And now the educated man was irritated, annoyed. He says, "Look, this chair is made up of matter. This wall is made up of matter. If you break it down, you will find tiny particles, that is matter." And the seeker says, "The tiny particles again look like forms to me." And he says, "Well, that is the matter." And the seeker says, "What I see is only colors and shape. No matter how tiny it gets, I never see this thing called matter." And the person says, "Well, this is what we call as matter." And now the seeker says, "But why would you call it matter if it all is form and color, sounds, touch, smell? Why would you give it another name? If this chair, if I call it a horse, what would you call me?" And the man says, "I would call you idiot. This is chair, this is not horse." And the seeker says, "If you call the names and forms, colors and sound as matter, what should I call you? In the same way, you do not see a horse here, you see a chair. In the same way, don't you see that it is all perception, not matter? Why would you call it by a different name and then confuse yourself? Isn't matter just a concept, an idea in the mind? Your experience is of the mind. Your experience is of the perceptions created by the senses. What is this thing called matter? And why does it matter so much to you?" And now the educated man was confused. I can imagine it's very difficult to let go of the brainwashing that has happened since our childhood. We never see matter. We still believe in it. It is a religion of some kind, blind faith. What we think is the world is a state of the mind, and we see that which appears during the state. It is created by the mind, we roughly say like this. But the creation and the creator are not different. They are just two names of the same thing. The state of the mind is mind only. The activity of the mind is the mind itself. See that if there are no senses, there is no world. Somebody can object, but I can say it. I have the senses. And that means you did not hear me. I say no senses. Nobody has senses. Now where is the world? In order to exist, it must be sensed. All that is sensed is subjective, is mental in nature. To call it something else is to call a chair a horse. It serves no purpose. It is idiotic. All the knowledge of the world comes as mental perceptions, subjective events. Because it is mind, it takes a mind to know it. Because it is subjective, it takes a subject to see it. If it were really there, it would be independent of the subject. And that is an impossibility. Who would know it is there? It will be like unicorns. Yes, it is there, but nobody can see it now. So the reality is mind, and the hypothesis is that there is a world made up of matter. It is totally reversed. Now the madness of the world is that people are convinced that this world is the real and the mind comes and goes from here. That is why the topic is the mad world, because it is all upside down for some reason, which I don't really want to go into. We can say we cannot comprehend why this happened, but the answer is very obvious. This is how the mind works. It reverses the view so that the illusion becomes more convincing. This is what I call as attractor. And that is what I was saying. It looks like a local minima here, where we are trapped. This particular form is trapped, cannot get out of it. And it has cooked up these stories that this is real, that is real, and this is unreal, and I am great, and I am superior, you are inferior. I'm well educated. You don't have all these ideas. You haven't read all these books. Therefore, I know the truth you don't know. This is all part of the drama. A seeker is totally above all this stupidity. We look at the experience, that's all. Now, once there is an experience, you can call it by names. You can form ideas and concepts. There's no harm in it. But you imagine something and then label everything as it is. That is kind of unforgivable on the path of knowledge. You start from the experience. Then you are free to play with the concepts and ideas and inferences, deductions. You start with the idea, impose that idea on your experience, and then it all goes downhill from that place. I gave you the example of the Jagat and Jagriti. The ancient people knew a lot, never confused between what is mind and what is matter. Yes, when you are in the waking state, you can use this idea that there are objects so that you can function properly. This organism can function. And now you know why this is there, so that we can survive as humans, so that we can have this experience of the waking state, make it a very fun-filled adventure. Should not be taken as true. Otherwise, it becomes a misadventure. The misery that you see around in the waking state is because of this ignorance of what it is. And look at the yogi, so blissfully absorbed in the different states of the mind. Look at the Jnani, busy exploring the mind. Are they miserable? Do they think this is real? Are they after this or that? Are they killing each other? And then look at those who think it is matter, and I must get a lot of matter, and I'll get it even if I need to kill you. You are also matter, you see. It does not matter. These people are the cancer of this planet, of this waking state. And that is, the reason is ignorance of the state. It is a mad world. Let us do a very entertaining experiment, thought experiment, mental experiment, because what else can you do? You cannot do a physical experiment here. Take a look at a crazy person, the person you call mad. Take a look at his state of the mind, the waking state. He is speaking, he is walking, talking, he eats, sleeps, but there is a different world in his mind. He sees many things, he hears many things, and he's talking to imaginary people. From our point of view, he is crazy, not functioning, his brain is damaged, retarded. From his point of view, it is all real. There are dragons flying in the sky. The floor is a deep pit. He's afraid of walking on the floor. The lift takes you to the hell if it goes down. There are strange people around him, floating heads, and he hears many sounds. Animals, birds, people, screams. It is all real for him. This is what that particular mind is presenting there. The only difference between a healthy mind and this sick person is differences in perception. Perception is different, and so the ideas formed around those perceptions are different. His knowledge is different. His logic and his rationality is different. His emotions have a different twist. From the outside, he is barely functioning. From the inside, it is all self-consistent waking state. There is not even a bit of doubt there that this is all there is. Now, why do we call him crazy? Because that is not our experience, isn't it? Our experience is sanity. Now imagine this is the mental experiment that 2 or 3 more people become crazy in the same way. Let us say there is a virus which is making all the people crazy. So 2 or 3 are also infected by the same virus. And they start seeing the same things. The world is no more the old world, and they forget what the old was. And now when they meet, they can talk about it. Do you see the floating head there? Yes, I see the floating head. It is brown in color. No, it is white in color. And there will be minor, you see, discrepancy. Just like I say, this particular woman is beautiful, and you say, no, she is fat and ugly. So we do have this kind of discrepancy even in the sane minds. So these people, the group of infected people, they start talking about their experiences. Yes, I know this dragon just went over my head. And the other will say, yes, I heard the dragon. So still the outsiders will call them crazy. They are of different kind, they will say, and ignore them, probably try to treat them. Let us assume the virus now spreads to the whole village, and the whole village is now in the same reality which one crazy fellow was there. Do they call each other crazy? No. They respect each other, they love each other, they are happy with whatever reality is being presented to them. And they think it is real, it is most logical and natural that I throw a stone in the air and it turns into a bird and flies away. That is what happens here. Someday somebody will say that something is wrong with my mind. I threw a stone in the air and it fell down. And they will try to treat him. It never happens. That stones always flies away like a bird. Something is wrong with you. And they will try to treat that person. Now imagine this virus spreads to the whole population, the whole world, the whole planet. Now it becomes interesting, isn't it? Now it shows you for the first time that whatever you call as the world is created, is imagined, is dreamed up by something. That something we call it, label it as mind, but we don't really know, isn't it? All we know is experience, and we just infer that just being produced by some processes, some memories. So probably there will be a strange world there. The waking state would transform into something very, very strange, but still it will be okay. It will be good. Some people would be still killing each other because, you see, I see a blue lion and you call it a green lion. That means you are crazy. You don't belong to my religion, so I'll kill you. So it will be all normal, you see. Very rational and logical, just like it is now. So don't you see I have spots on my skin? That means that makes me superior to you. So I can invade your country now. You don't have spots on your skin. It's plain boring. That means you are inferior. Let us say that this is their perception now. So it is absolutely normal from their point of view, just like it is right now, right here. You can go on thinking like this. And if you don't go crazy, you will find that in that mad world, things are normal as they are here in our sane world, the real world. If you try to match them, you won't find any essential differences. This can be shocking, especially to those who thought this world is real, or those who thought that, okay, it has some mental component, you see, perception, but we are perceiving something and that something is real. Think again. It is a shock for them also who think that there is a reality behind the perceived reality. There is a reality behind the mind. Think again, you see. Many great people have done this, so you can consult them how they demolished everything. Now I'm just, presenting it in a very, very entertaining way, but probably it's just boring, so I'll come to the point. Now give it a twist to your experiment. Imagine that everybody is rendered insane in a different way, so that there is no communication between them. The individuals, they are crazy in different ways, not slightly different, totally different. So much so that they do not even see each other. You look like a rat to me, and I look like a lizard to you. And the planes that are flying, they look like fishes swimming. Something like this. The mind is so limited, you see, it cannot even imagine that something new. It will simply project something which it already knows. But let us assume that the worldview becomes so distorted, you cannot even think of what it is. So it is, those who take drugs, they will nod here. Well, it is not explainable what the experience is when the mind goes crazy like this. The words, they do not match up. Language is limited to what are you experiencing right now. The language is language of the ignorance of the waking world. It cannot explain any other state of the mind. What will be life like in that insane, extremely insane world? Obviously, there are no rules saying that everybody will go crazy in one specific way. So it is all wild. Everybody's crazy in their own way. Now, what is real? Now two people cannot meet and agree on anything that is real. Look, this is the same world, but it won't appear same to anybody. Where is the absoluteness of the waking state? Isn't it simply agreement between two crazy people? Oh, I see it like this. You also see it? Yes. And that means it is real. And that's why this waking state is also called the consensus reality. Not any kind of reality, you see. It does not matter, my dear. There is just agreement. We'll call this thing as matter and sleep peacefully. It takes pressure out of the mind. Don't need to think much. Don't need to torture your intelligence. Simply call it matter and that explains everything. Look, it follows the rules also. The stone goes up, it comes down. Every time I throw it comes down. Real. What the mind has done, it has found regularities in this consensus reality and calls it laws. Look, I kicked the wall, I kicked the big boulder and it pains a lot. Now pain is also subjective, you see. If that is your criteria of calling something real, then good luck. Everything is real, then you can have imaginary pain also. There are people who have that kind of pain. We treat them with medicines. We don't call them crazy. It is real for them. Although nothing is causing the pain. They did not hit their toe on the stone. What is it? How much can you ignore the unreality by calling it reality? Oh no, I cannot function here if I don't use this. Obviously, you won't be able to function for 1 second if you abandon the model that the mind has created of this experience. Now you can realize that there is survival behind the model of the world that we have created. We have evolved like this. The mind has evolved like this. To support this form, it must create a model of its own experience. And since letting go of this model, calling it false, will simply put the organism in great danger, won't survive for long. And therefore it makes perfect sense to call it real, to have trust, to have faith on this. And that is supported by the consensus, because everybody is saying, yes, it is real, it is matter, it is objective. The only thing that is unreal is subjective. And so the organism feels safe. And this instinct to survive is driving this ignorance. There is no other reason. If you are told that you cannot die now, no matter what you assume, if you become so bold, free from fear, then you would kick out this model in a second. Then you will be freed from need to call something real or unreal, matter or mind or anything. You would see the insanity that is the human being. Why do we have people who have consensus, who have agreement that this is how it is? And now we are going deeper into the mind, and since the structures are the same, the mechanisms are the same, it produces the same illusion. The red color that I see is exactly the same red color that you see. There can be an occasional glitch. There can be an occasional bug in the code. And it won't look this red. It would look like some other color which we cannot imagine. But because that person is now a part of the society, this group mind, since childhood, he has been told, look, this what you see here, the tomato, it is red colored. Now, there is no way for me to tell what is the red color. So that a person is going to assume, yes, this experience is called red color. And we have just corrupted. We have just converted that divergent person into our consensus reality. There will be some occasional examples where the deviation is so much that mind refuses to, the individual mind refuses to agree. You can see it in everyday life actually. We ignore it simply. We call, wherever there is an agreement, we call them as real. Whenever there is a disagreement, we say, oh, it's subjective, and just ignore it. We just, put it under the carpet. And we focus on only that which everybody agrees with. You see, no two people, no two persons are exactly the same. Even though I said that the mechanisms of creating the reality are more or less same, but they're not exactly same. When two strangers meet, what do they talk about? They talk about weather. They talk about how high the temperature is today, whether it is cloudy or not. Why is that? Because that is a safe platform to agree on. Imagine if two strangers meet and one says that I eat only potatoes and onions, and the other says, well, I kill the animal and eat the dead body of the animal. Do you think these people will get together for long? No. The realities are totally different. For one, it is very normal, actually mouth-watering, to see the dead body of the animal. That is how his reality has been shaped by the society. For the other, it is the most disgusting sight in the universe. There is no consensus. There is no correspondence. There is no talk there. Do you see? This is our everyday experience. We ignore it. And everybody says that my reality is the only reality. You are inferior because you don't agree to my reality. Can you see the signs of madness that we found in our thought experiment? I encourage you to look around. You will find the same madness here. Now, I want to make it clear that I use the word insanity, madness, just to make it less boring. We could have simply used conditioning, could have simply used the word impressions, sanskars. Our world is formed by our sanskars. It is not insanity. It is just different. There is no communication between a mind that is brought up with a different conditioning. Therefore, they see each other as a threat. They're immediately afraid of a person who is not corresponding to their reality. That's why when they meet, they talk BS, very shallow talk. It is raining. Yes, it is raining. The road is wet. Yes, the road is wet. The train is late. Yes, the train is late. As soon as they get one or two steps into the discussion, the differences will spring up. Everybody is insane to everybody else. This whole world is, on the brink of collapse. Just one idea changes and everything changes. It is so delicately held that one tap of your finger will topple the whole of the world. The yogi has already done that, destroyed the world completely. If you can create a new one, that actually is same as destroying the old one. All you need to do is change the state of the mind, which it does automatically. All you need to do is remain aware while this happens. Connect the two memories. The waking memory is different from the other states. Each state has a corresponding memory. So those who remember their dreams, they will see some consistencies in the dreams. Like they always meet in this village, the woman with white hair, and they always talk the same things. There is a little bit of consistency there in the dream also. Now a dream is very, very degenerated kind of illusion, therefore looks completely unreal, does not correspond very well. Imagine if the dreams become more and more consistent. For many explorers, this has happened. They are the people, they consistently appear, they talk the same things, they look in the same way, although tiny bits of changes, but the mind conveniently ignores the changes and holds on to that which is common. This is the tendency of the mind. This is how it creates permanent experience out of ever-changing flow of impermanence. It ties together the things that do not change much. You see, I had a very strange experience when I was a kid, and still it happens. When I look at a face, I can recognize the face of that person, but next day it looked a little bit different. Or if the person is laughing, he would look totally different from the serious face. And when I was a kid, I could not understand why this is. And I was afraid to tell anybody because, they would brand me crazy and start treating me. But my mind was more focused on the differences than on the similarities. Why do you know that your mother is the same mother, has not changed the face? Because your mind is holding on to the similarities between the faces. The reality is the face changes every day, every moment, every second. It is flowing illusion. But you don't see it. You see the same mother. That helps in survival, isn't it? That is why it is there. Somehow I could very distinctly see the differences, and even my own face would appear different every time I looked in the mirror. That was strange. Now it is without taking drugs, without doing any spiritual practices or occult practices or anything. And many people would relate to this thing. We ignore it because insanity, isn't it? No, I also dismissed it as, some kind of illusion. But sometimes the mind won't match the similarities, would focus on the tiny differences and then amplify them. And suddenly that thing would look strange. It won't look as familiar. Imagine this happening to the dream, that these similarities would become so great that we no longer ignore the dream characters now, because every time you dream, there is the same person, the same settings, same objects. The look and feel also the same. You can touch them, you can taste them, you can talk to the person, and he would say, yes, yesterday you were here, I saw you, and you did this and this, you said this and this. Only thing is that now it is more consistent. It has become reality for you, no longer a dream. Why is the waking state not a dream for many? Because of the consistency that the mind can derive out of it. It is flowing. Look at it. Just because there is this bias in the mind that it ignores the differences, it looks like the same world that I was in yesterday. It is not. Probably it is changing very slowly, but it's not. It is like a dream which is changing very quickly. And that is the only difference, isn't it? If the dream became a little bit more consistent, you won't hesitate to call it real. That's what is the experience of many, many spiritual explorers. For them, there are real worlds out there, real people, their guides, their masters, their, soulmates from the different realities. Now, we call these people crazy people, spiritual people, or, their trademark is craziness. There is no craziness, only states of the mind. The average person here in the waking state is crazy. Not only crazy, deluded, ignorant and stupid also. A seeker is the one who has fixed one kind of insanity is in grip of another kind of insanity now. For that person, everything is either a dream or everything is real now. That world is also real, this world is also real, and the world that I go into, the world of dead people, is also real, and I am also going to end up there when I die. And it is another kind of insanity, you see. Two spiritual guys, they meet. Oh, I saw my dead uncle. And I also saw him. Yes. Can you see? Just like our thought experiment. See that it is all created by the mind. We are all crazy. Just agree on the craziness. This world is mad. It cannot be anything else. There is no sanity. It is not a possibility. If you think, no, this kind of experience will be the purest experience, it will be sane experience. This is insanity, yes, I agree. But there is some other kind of experience which will show me the truth. And that means you are now just a different kind of crazy, the higher craziness. There is no such thing as a sane experience. It is all like this. It is all moment by moment, generated, mind telling itself the same story that, look, it is real now. It has become more real now. Your worldview has expanded now. It is, just bullshit, different kind of craziness. The mind is very expert in making stories. It is very easy to fool yourself. There is no such thing as sane mind. Or whatever it is doing is extremely sane. I don't see any problem in it. The only problem is when you brand one kind of mind as sane and other as insane. That is the problem. That is the real insanity. The one who has realized the insanity is at peace. I am not saying that he is free from insanity. There is no such thing. There is no freedom from Maya. Where are you going to go? It is all there is. It is all a creation. Where are you going to find the true ground of being? There is no such thing. Oh no, I can abide in the self and you see the pure consciousness and all. So I would say good luck. There is no I to do that. It is already that which is. You're trying to escape the madness, and that becomes a madness itself. Why don't you see everything that you thought is true, everything you believed so firmly, blindly, full faith, it's all false. It's all delusion. From the lowest kind of delusion, the delusion of the matter in the real world and waking state, to the highest kind of delusion that I am this pure consciousness. You see, mind cannot have the knowledge. It will be a refined kind of delusion. I'm not saying don't get it, don't study, don't research, don't explore, don't seek. By all means, do it, because that is how we know all these things. What is seeking? Seeking is looking at your insanity, discovering how insane you are. Every day I discover that it's a gradual refinement. But no, you are not going to get past the mind. So, the last weapon of a seeker is surrender. That sounds odd. It's a very powerful weapon. You need to surrender, accept. Look at the amazing insanity. You see, change your tune a little bit. That is what the seeker on the path of Shakti is doing. Accepted the Shakti, embraced the goddess, not kicking her out because she is an illusion. No, look at those people, you see, on the path of Shakti. They are worshipping and they look like totally insane. Look at me, I'm so sophisticated, you see, modern. And look at them, wearing skulls, dancing in black clothes, sometimes totally naked, drinking all kind of stuff. What are they doing? They are insane. From their point of view, I am the one who has lost it. I am the one who does not know what Shakti is. They are manipulating world. They are creating universes actually. They say mantra and the whole universe is created for them. Do I have that kind of privilege? Now, I obviously know that nobody will believe me. This is the mark of the insanity. Nobody believes anybody here. You will need to become insane to see the insanity of the other. There's no other way. So which path is better? Who is doing the best thing? Don't worry. They're all insane. If you look for sanity, sanitized path, then you are insane. The madness is the sanity. There is no other thing. When you hack into the mind, it's all code, you see. Which one is good, which one is bad. How can you decide? Who are you to decide? You did not create it. You are the creation, isn't it? You are as insane as the creation itself. What are you talking about? Getting out of here? Where is the out? What kind of insanity is that? Some will say, no, I reject everything. I am that which is witnessing the insanity. It cannot be insane. Probably it looks wonderful. I am that. It sounds so nice, so spiritual, the highest kind of Advait. Look at it again. There is no I am to declare that I am that. And so, this is an insane statement. I told you cannot escape. You did not believe me. Yes, I am that. You see, let us agree. We cannot talk without agreeing, isn't it? Now what? Did that change anything? Because I was that since the beginning. Nothing new has happened. It is not that I was somebody insane, this tiny, whiny creation here, who has become the self, the Brahman, overnight. This is not the case. I was that since eternity, and I'll remain that since eternity. What changed? The only thing that changed is, you see, there was this insane person there that disappeared, and now All that remains is the insane world. The insanity has grown now 1,000,000 times. That's all has happened, isn't it? Has it become better? Question everything. I'm not saying this is true, this is false. On the path of knowledge, we do not simply willy-nilly declare everything is true and false and this and that. We put a question mark. Question the statements that are put in your mind by the gurus, by the masters. I'm not saying they're saying something wrong. There is nothing wrong here. What is wrong in this madness? What are you going to call wrong and right here? The master has put this teaching in your mind not to put you to sleep. Okay, this is the teaching, now go to sleep. No, it is there to question. Wake up and question. Why did he say that? Okay, I am that, now what? Keep questioning. If you sit still, that is the end there. Your mind will stagnate into insanity. The only way to remain a little bit sane is to put a question mark on everything. Never accept. The attitude should not be like, oh, I don't accept anything. Everybody's wrong here. I question everybody. No, this is not the right attitude. The attitude is, the correct attitude is that, yes, this was told to me and this is my experience. Now let me find out whether it holds, whether it stands, whether there is something behind the experience, which in other words means that whether it is true or not, whether it's real or not, then you will never find anything, no substance behind any teaching, behind any experience, behind any Mahavakya. There is no substance there. It is all madness. If you don't question, you will assume that I found the truth. Don't worry about the truth. It's not there. Truth is an illusion, just like false is. Just like I said, no matter which path you take, it is going to take you to insanity. So accept. And what else are you going to do? I mean, now question. Keep questioning. Say that I don't know. I'll explore. This is path of knowledge. It is endless. Fortunately. What would you do if you found an end to the path of knowledge? It is boring, isn't it? Fortunately, it is endless. Goes on and on and on. Knowledge itself is madness. What do you know? Ordinary is boring. Look at this madness, so beautiful. Nothing makes sense, so nothing is boring. It's new, every second of it is new. Waking state, amazing. Don't dismiss it as illusion. The other 500 states, amazing. Absolutely, great. They're all real. There's one way to see it. The other way is totally opposite. All illusion, all dream. It's unreal. It's ugly, it's bondage, suffering. Now you can see these two preferences are also created in the mind. There's nothing special about one preference and the other. Which one are you going to prefer? They're both same. And there are many more in between, the whole spectrum of them. The problem is stagnation. A seeker cannot afford to remain at one place. Yes, exploring the madness is madness. Stopping, stagnating, rotting in one place is also madness. I told you, you can't escape the madness.
Pure experiences.
You were listening to Pure Experiences by Tharun Pradhan.